What's up, nerds? We're your hosts. I'm Jake.
And I'm Chad. This week we are sponsored by Ray's Energy Drinks.
We are also sponsored by Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce.
Now this week we'll be talking about episode 4 of Loki.
We are also going to start our next deep dive into the Spider-Man franchise, starting with the Raimi Trilogy, going into the Amazing Spider-Man, and also into the MCU version of Spider-Man, which we have the upcoming one coming in December.
And all those spin-offs, right?
Yeah, we got Venom, Morbius
all things
coming out.
Spider-Dude.
We also have Into the Spider-Verse by Sony, which was an awesome animated film.
So good.
So we're going to start diving into those, and we'll start breaking those down episode by episode, movie by movie, is what I was trying to say, but it just kept coming out.
Well, I mean, if you weren't choking on a pity dick, it'd be fine.
Did you say pretty dick or pity dick?
Yes. Just kidding. But anyways, so let's go ahead and get into it. This is the All Things Nerd podcast. Nerd.
Welcome back, nerds. So basically, we're just gonna see how your week has been, Chad. How's your week been?
Well, I mean, as I announced last week, I have started the transition into a plant-based diet. Yeah.
I think I did that last week, too.
Yeah, Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Stop it. Because that's not nice of you.
Nice.
It's not. And it's only kind of funny. For me, not to make fun of.
No, we're totally supportive of all that.
Yeah.
I just am making fun of Chad because
absolutely,
I'm a dick.
And we have that kind of friendship, I guess.
Yeah.
Where he makes me cry and I don't say anything about it, and yet I still call him every day. Yay! That's super healthy and not codependent at all. Oh, that got real. Yeah, but so it's been a week since I've had meat. I have had cheese, but that's it for any sort of like animal products. Since you guys will be hearing this on Wednesday, so since last Tuesday. No, it was last Wednesday when it came out. Was the last time I had any sort of meat. I had sushi because I was like, I'm not going to have this for a long time. And
how did that go?
Well, not great, Jake. The place I went to definitely did not have the best quality of sushi to begin with. It wasn't that tasty, and it made me feel sick to my stomach. Which is weird because I hadn't even I had meat the day before.
Yeah.
It's just that this place did not have very good sushi. And which is fucked because it's a sushi restaurant. So I don't know what it was. It could have been that it was super spicy, and one of the rolls that I ordered, they fucking deep fried, because that's a thing in Ohio. Hey, let's take this sushi and then bread it and then deep fry it, because that makes it sushier. But basically, since then, I have not had. I had what they call a white pizza. Basically, meaning that there's no sauce on it. It's just like an olive oil base with cheese, and then it had like spinach, mushrooms, and onion. It was super delicious. But other than that, I have not had any sort of meat product in like a week, and I have. No one told me that if you went vegan, that you were gonna get a spicy butthole.
Let's say you went plant-based. You didn't just stop eating meat. You went plant-based.
Yeah.
And you're eating. Yeah. it wrecks you for a while, especially when you first start out.
Yeah, Cottonelle baby wipes have become a staple.
Yeah.
I have a bidet, and it is not enough.
Bro, come on.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Just keep yelling at your dog. It's cool. No, no one told me. You didn't tell me until I confided in you today that I've been...
Today. And I was like, oh, yeah, that's right. You shit yourself a lot. Going through that transition, yeah.
Like, not to be gross for everyone that's listening, all 7 of you. Just kidding, there's more than 7 of you. But not to be gross, but, like, I've always been the dude that... Well, I have, like, chronic stomach problems to begin with, so, like, I poop more than the average person. And this, even to me, I'm like, this is excessive. Like, it's not good.
It will go away.
I'm sure it will, but...
And then they will be healthier poops, I promise. But let's stop talking about poop on our podcast.
The All Things Poop Podcast.
I went and this week has been, well, for one of the very hilarious things that was not so hilarious to me was I locked myself out of my job on Saturday and had to break in. And I'm surprised nobody called the cops on me because I was a guy in gym shorts and a t-shirt with a hammer and a screwdriver breaking into my work.
And not white.
If you're from Minnesota, that's a problem.
Especially the past forever.
Yeah.
Since its founding.
But other than that, I did go, me and Nicole went and saw A Quiet Place 2 yesterday. It was so good. I liked it more than I liked the first one, honestly. And that doesn't happen very often with movies and sequels.
Yeah, it made me excited to the point where I was like, because it's been a while since I've watched the first one.
Yeah.
So it's like, okay, so I want to rewatch the first one before I see the second one.
Yeah.
Just so that the story is just continuous in my mind. But I'm very excited about that.
That's cool.
There was another movie that came out this week that so the caveat here is that I expected very little from this film, and it ended up being enjoyable because it's just, I would relate it to a Fast and the Furious film where it's just like there's a lot of good action, the story is subpar, but it's fun to watch.
What was the movie, Chad?
The Tomorrow War with Chris Pratt.
Okay.
I enjoyed it a lot. It exceeded my expectations, and then as we were talking about it, why should I not have enjoyed it as much, Jake?
Because this is the biggest ripoff of the Tom Cruise movie Edge of Tomorrow. Even the title of this movie is called The Tomorrow War.
Versus Edge of Tomorrow.
Edge of Tomorrow. And it's about battling aliens from the future.
There's time travel involved.
Only
this one's just not a time loop, but the same.
Yeah. Edge of Tomorrow was basically Tom Cruise gets stuck in a time loop where he relives the same day over and over again until he can eventually convince enough people to help him defeat the aliens in the future.
And
this movie, The Tomorrow War, is sending people to the future to fight aliens. And the aliens even look similar.
But they did look cool.
Spoiler alert for anybody who hasn't seen it. I'll wait 1, 2, 3 seconds. If you didn't log off, it's your fault. Even the ending is the same thing. It's we gotta find where they're coming from, and we gotta destroy it at the source. And it literally was the same fucking movie, just with a different actor. And don't get me wrong, I like Chris Pratt. I do. He's a good actor. Parks and Rec. Come on, he's great. Guardians of the Galaxy. But this movie was a fucking bullshit ripoff. It was, as you said, it was the Costco version of Edge of Tomorrow. Yeah.
And I say that with respect because I love Costco. But the Kirkland brand of anything, it's the exact same.
Yeah.
It's just a different distributor. So,
Yeah.
Edge of Tomorrow was a big movie production. Hey! Oh.
I'm trying to get her in here. Bro, come in here now. Come here. The blinds aren't even open.
It's a big Edge of Tomorrow is a big movie studio. The Tomorrow War was an Amazon Prime. Literally, I think our definition of it being the Costco version of Edge of Tomorrow could not be more spot on.
Yeah.
But it's still enjoyable. The aliens look really cool in this. It's bloody. It's brutal. They put a little bit of story into it. Some of it's a little unnecessary, but some of it's kind of cool. Enough to drive the story, I guess. I enjoyed it. Am I ready to watch it again? No.
And this has been our Costco review of
the Tomorrow War.
It was. I think the thing I enjoyed about it the most was making fun of it with my girlfriend while we were watching it. Was more fun than actually watching.
Also, probably the biggest beast in this movie was not the aliens. It was definitely J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons
wearing a muscle shirt.
That 70-year-old man. I don't know how old he is. 70, maybe 65, 70-year-old, fucking just jacked.
He gets a special menu at Perkins. Okay, he's at least that old, and he is just ripped and jacked.
AAA discount.
Yeah. He doesn't get reminder cards to sign up for AARP. He gets cards from AARP being like, "Will you be our spokesperson because you're the example of health." Just massive dude. Oh my god. For those of you that can't see, Jake is just choking on his drink.
Way stronger than I thought it was. I'm going to have to add a little extra soda. That was rough.
But also with that, I mean, this weekend, we're actually recording a day later than normal. You guys won't notice a difference because it'll still come out on Wednesday.
Right. Happy 4th of July, by the way.
The 4th of July. Yeah. Happy birthday, Captain America.
Yeah.
Well, for you guys, it was a few days ago, but I hope you enjoyed the extra day off.
Yeah.
Hope you guys were safe. You did something fun. And you celebrated America's ass in the best way possible. That's really what it is. But yeah, I mean, that kind of sums up this week. I mean, it wasn't huge. We'll get into some of the bigger stuff, like Loki, right after we hear from our first sponsor. So we're gonna cut away for a second. You'll hear about some Raise energy drinks, how you can save some money if you want to check them out, because it's fantastic energy drinks with 0 sugar, 0 carbs, and 0 crash. 0 calories and 0 carbs, I guess. But yeah, check it out. What's up, nerds? I wanted to take a minute and talk to you about Raise Energy, an incredible energy drink that provides max energy with 0 crash. Raise Energy takes a giant leap of faith with instilling a high-quality formula to bring a powerful, yet sustained, energetic experience to help you push your workouts and focus to the next level. Perfect for anyone at any time, empowered by their Refresh formula technology, Raise Energy delivers a performance-enhancing energy drink that aids in multiple different categories that include targeted focus, better recovery time, improved clean energy levels, and a boost in stamina and hydration. But most importantly, every can of Raise Energy has absolutely 0 calories, 0 sugar, and 0 carbohydrates to give you a smarter and healthier option. So don't settle for an energy drink that contains more sugar and carbohydrates than you can count. Instead, head over to repsports.com. That's REPPSPORTS.com and use the promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout for 15% off your order. Or if you don't know what you want, go ahead and click the link that's in the description to get a $50 sample pack for free. All you do is you cover the cost of shipping. Again, make sure you use promo code NERDPODCAST at checkout to let them know that we sent you.
Okay, guys. So now we're gonna dive into Loki episode 4. Awesome episode, and there's a lot to touch on. We're gonna try to whiz through it without spending too much time on this, but yeah, there's a shit ton of
Oh,
awesome shit in this episode.
there's a shit
Um,
ton of shit in this shit.
a shit ton of shit in the shit. Where do
Jesus.
you want to start, guy?
Don't call me guy, buddy.
Don't call me buddy, pal.
I'm not sure if pal, friend. Um, anyways. So, really, I mean, just so much happens on this. So, where we left Loki and Sylvie was, the planet that they were on was about to be destroyed, an apocalypse event, so they could hide out there without creating any sort of nexus events, right? Well, they get stranded, right? But somehow they still create a nexus event despite the fact that the world is about to explode.
So the whole point is what? Sorry, but the whole point of the Sylvie has been hiding in Armageddon like type scenarios or apocalyptic scenarios because no matter what she does in those scenarios, there can be no branch off through the timeline because no matter what she does, everything ends and the timeline will just keep going.
So
way
the
it's supposed
TVA
to.
cannot find her there.
But her and Loki have a moment and it branches even though the world or the place that they're in, Armageddon place that they're in, is supposed to end. They still have a nexus event, as they call it. And sorry to interrupt you. Keep going.
No, you're absolutely right. And in a weird, touching but very narcissistic moment, basically two Lokis fall in love with the other Loki.
Fell in love with himself.
Yep. And Owen Wilson, just without saying wow, is like, how narcissistic of you. You fell in love with yourself.
With yourself. Hilarious.
Yeah, and it's true. But that's how they get saved, because it branches such an extreme Nexus event. Most of the times when they show Nexus events, like on the temp pads or like in the TVA, like on their monitors, it's like a gradual slope. This one just like, bam, just like straight
up. Yeah.
Like
a boner.
Yeah, just completely erect from the sacred timeline. Just good morning Vietnam, just
Ugh.
up and throbbing.
Just a veiny, triumphant bastard.
You hit back on the foot with your dick? You know what kind of foods are shaped like dicks? The best kind. But so Mobius is able to find them, track them down, takes both Lokis into custody. They get separated, and what's kind of wonderful and hilarious is that, well, first off, Mobius puts our Loki, the Tom Hiddleston Loki, into kind of like a time loop prison.
Oh, yeah.
Which is a really cool nod to like Norse mythology based on what happens in this time loop prison cell.
Yeah.
It's Lady Sif, who we haven't seen since Thor 2 or Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D.
Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., yeah.
Which is no longer canon, but whatever. I'm not bitter about it. Fuck. But I love that show.
Yeah, it was good.
It was so good. It got a little weird, but it was really good.
Towards the end, it got a little...
Yeah, that's fair. But it shows her confronting Loki and yelling at him and calling him basically a piece of shit who deserves to die alone because he cut off her hair. But if in actual Norse mythology, Loki does cut off Lady Sif's hair, and then he feels so guilty about it that he seeks out the dwarves on Nidavellir.
Who make her hair out of gold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it is because of that act of like remorse and also like gaining the dwarves' trust that then the dwarves agree to start making weapons for the Asgardians in Norse mythology. but that's how Thor gets Mjolnir, or commonly known as Jonathan, in Norse mythology.
We love you, Paul Rudd.
Oh my god, he's my hero. But so it was a really cool nod to Norse mythology.
Yeah.
Doesn't tie into the MCU at all, but like that story happened in Norse mythology, so it was really cool that they brought that back. But yeah, go ahead.
And then jumping back into the episode. I mean, this is a part of the episode. I'm sorry. This is a part of the episode.
Yeah.
It was cool.
I know what you mean though.
But getting back on track to this is something that we talked about. But getting back on track with the way it went in this episode, there is a scene where we see Ravana takes a certain elevator down to a certain floor, and when she gets off, we see the timekeepers for the first time. They're in a very dark room. We don't really get to see their faces. Again, spoiler alert, first and foremost, for everybody.
Yeah, we're like 5 minutes late on that, but yeah, spoiler alert.
We're going forward for spoiler alert. But in this room, when you see her come off the elevator, you see the timekeepers, and behind them is a very brightly lit red symbol. And I don't think either of us took notice of this
No.
at first. But if you know from watching the first few episodes of Loki, or hopefully now the 4th episode of Loki, magic does not work in the TVA. We know that because Loki has tried and it doesn't work. We also know from fucking Scarlet Witch and goddamn, what's the name of that show?
WandaVision.
Jesus Christ. WandaVision, that a witch cannot use magic if she is the witch, or if another witch cannot use magic if a different witch casts a rune. Only the witch who casts the rune can use magic in that area. This behind the timekeepers is very much a rune.
Yeah, it looks just like a rune. It's got the bright red outlines, just like what we saw in WandaVision, which is, it gives a lot of light into it, and we'll get into what we think that means in a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're also in a room. If you're a fan of like optical illusions or like old timey art,
MC Escher.
Yeah, the impossible room.
Yeah.
Where it's like staircases going sideways, upside down. They don't go anywhere.
Yeah.
They're in that fucking room.
Mm-hmm.
Which, again, we can tie back into that a little bit later when we talk about, because we still think, I'm just going to throw it out there now, that Kang is a big part of this. And in the comics, I think it's called Cryptopolis. Croptopolis? It's probably not Croptopolis. But we're
crop tops. They only wear crop tops. Though.
Yeah, we're taking it. We're taking it.
Yeah.
I don't care if you've got a dad bod or a six pack. We're taking back from the ladies' boys. Get it, King.
You get it, King.
But no, in the comics, in Kang's city that he creates, he takes a lot of like souvenirs.
Yeah.
Much like Ravana, which we've kind of already alluded to.
Right.
But so I mean, it would make sense that like this mystical room is an impossible room, and we'll also explain that a little bit more in a minute.
Do we think Kang is going to be in this series?
If he is, it's very briefly. It'll be at the very end.
I think this is going to be another Marvel Mephisto chase. They're giving us all the ingredients, but they're gonna fuck us in the end with a Ralph boner.
They're gonna fuck us with Ralph's boner?
Yes.
Oh, neat.
I still believe to my core that Mephisto and Kang are going to be very big players, if not the big players, in Phase 4. But I think that Marvel is just toying us toying with us a little bit on the hints that they're giving us just to fuck with us.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, we know that Kang's going to be a major player because he's confirmed as the villain for Ant-Man 3.
Quantumania, yeah.
So I mean, there's no
Jonathan
surprise there.
Majors.
Yeah,
If you haven't seen, oh shit,
Lovecraft Country.
Lovecraft Country. Thank you.
Yeah.
Watch it. It's awesome.
I have not watched it, but I'm really excited to.
It's fun.
But so there's a few other things. I mean, we kind of talked about, like how Loki and Loki are sitting in a tree.
Are they Kising? Nope, they haven't done that.
No, not yet. But I would not be surprised if that's happens. But so, we've seen the Timekeepers, and it's very ominous, and there's the runes. But then we also see a flashback of Ravana, Renslayer, back before she was a judge for the Timekeepers, for the TVA. Back when she was just part of, their strike team, basically, that would go and pick up variants. And we get a flashback of her and her team capturing Lady Loki as a fucking child.
Yeah. Who hasn't done anything wrong.
Yeah. But what was really unique that I didn't think about when I first watched it, I just thought they did it as a cinematic surprise. But the way that they approach Asgard is from behind the mountains, behind the castle.
Oh, it's just where Loki snuck out in.
Well, just any other time that we see Asgard, it's coming from the Rainbow Bridge and the Bifrost. So it's literally a mirrored image. It's the opposite. So instead of showing Loki in the main timeline, it's showing a mirror image where instead of the god of mischief, it's the goddess of mischief. It's
gotcha.
That's kind of how I saw it after it was pointed out that we saw it as a different way.
Yeah.
But what's really cool is that Ravana, her hunter tag, is A23. And what does that mean, Jake?
So A23 is Avengers 23. It's the comic book where Ravana is first introduced into the Marvel universe in the comics, and it's also the first but not only the first comic where Kang pronounces his love to Ravana, and she shuts him down, and he he destroys her home world because she shoots him down.
And by the way, guys, that is not the way to react to rejection or to a woman telling you no.
Well,
yeah, maybe don't go and just kill everybody.
Why?
Especially her entire planet. Because, Jake, I shouldn't have to tell you this, but no means no. And that's fine.
That's true.
So you need to be okay with that. Yeah. Kang, you fucking dick.
So it's a slight nod to the comics. Pretty cool. Not a slight nod. It's a very intentional. Yeah.
For those of you that are watching, my dog is just going ham on her butthole right now. Hey, Katie, can you stop? Thanks. You're on camera.
A couple small things that we thought were pretty cool. One of them is the things that they use to prune everybody. Chad?
Yeah, so the TVA's weapons, it's basically like a spear on one end, and then it has a glow stick of destiny on the other end that erases people. And it's a fucking pencil. It's just a giant pencil.
Because why?
Because they're pencil pushers. They write and erase history, which is just wild.
So when they prune somebody, they're erasing them. It's in here, and they're like, erase. But then, it's pretty cool.
But then the other side can be used as a tool, much like a writing utensil.
There's also some slight nods in this series that I didn't know about until today, and I brought it up to Chad, and we were both just like, whoa. There are some nods to Blade Runner throughout the series in this show. If you guys haven't seen Blade Runner, you're too young for this podcast, probably.
Keep listening though, and then go check it out. Not the one with Ryan Reynolds. Watch the original one.
Ryan Reynolds
or Ryan Gosling, whatever. They're both very attractive Ryans. Okay.
No. Well, no. Ryan Reynolds is way more attractive than Gosling.
Yeah, but Ryan Gosling also has his whole "Hey, girl," which is
He's
just
got he's got memes. Cool.
we live in a digital society. Memes are everything now, right?
Yeah. But yeah, so one of the biggest nods that we noticed from the episode is that when Sylvie, who is Lady Loki, gives A15 that
B15,
it was it
B15, but yeah.
is it B15?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, anyways, she gives her a glimpse of her memories
Because
and
all the TVA people are variants, which we learned last week. We talked about, but in case you missed that.
And she starts crying, and her tears are masked by the rain, which is a big thing from Blade Runner, Tears in the Rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
because in Blade Runner, it's, a replicant realizing that he's a replicant, but he still feels like he's like human and has humanity, so he's emotionally reacting to everything that's in the rain. It's literally the same scene, but they did it very well.
yeah.
But also, we kind of have a theory that the TVA is just scared of Lokis.
Which is why they took Sylvie as a little girl. She didn't do anything wrong. She didn't break any timeline laws. They literally took her while she was playing with toys.
A child,
in her room. Yeah.
So the theory that's kind of going around out there is that any Loki that doesn't quote unquote die prematurely on the timeline, they prune, they get rid of.
Which is why we also get a kind of a scene in the last episode, episode 3 at the end, where Sylvie says to Loki, our Loki is destined to fail. And he says, no, Lokis are destined to survive. We're both alive despite all of the bullshit.
Yeah, he says, like, we might fail sometimes greatly, but we don't die.
And the most depressing thing about this episode, Chad, is what?
Mobius gets murked.
Fucking murked. So annoying.
He put on a red shirt and followed Spock. Like, just destined to fail.
Mobius comes around in this episode and he pretends to be drunk while he's in Ravana's office or trophy room, whatever you want to call it. Yeah. And one of the notably things that I had mentioned to you before we started recording is that Ravana has a pen that says, like, what was it, Roosevelt?
Roosevelt High School in New York City. School.
And this pen has been seen in previous episodes, so we don't know what it means yet or if it's going to mean anything, but maybe it's high school that, like, she visited or went to or something. We don't know. But it means something, I'm sure.
Yeah, because I've shown it multiple times.
Yeah. But Mobius basically pretends he's drunk, switches TemPads with Ravana, and watches what she had on her TemPad, which is her erasing,
Hunter C-20, which was the hunter that Sylvie had taken prisoner to learn how to get to the Timekeepers.
Yeah. And she was in episode 2. She was the one that Sylvie had tried to convince what they were sitting in a bar over drinks. They were just like girlfriends, like talking.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talking.
It was that girl.
Yeah.
But she says in the TemPad that Mobius watched, she's like, those were memories. That wasn't a bar that was made up. I've been there.
Yeah.
I've been to that bar. And Ravana pops into screen, and Mobius realizes that Loki was right when Loki, and we skipped this part a little bit.
Well, Loki tells them that everyone in the TVA is variants, which how no one found that out on their own blows my mind. Yeah. Because if the Timekeepers just created like a police force, why would they each get their own personalities? Why would they all look different? Like, if they're just created to do one thing and be servants, like, why diversity? like from the timekeeper.
We could start another podcast, and I'm not going to go into it right now, but sounds a lot like.
Yeah, huh? Yeah. Yeah.
But anyways, so Mobius goes into the time loop that they have imprisoned Loki in to get him out, and there's a very
sweet scene.
very beautiful moment between the two of them, where Mobius is basically like, "Hey, man, you could be anything you want, even if it's someone good," and Loki like tears up, and he's like, "Man, this guy sees like potential in me." And he's like, "I have a plan." Mobius says to Loki, "I have a plan. Do you trust me?" Loki obviously says yes, calls him a friend. They shake hands. It's cute.
They leave they leave that time cell, like the time loop cell. And
the first thing that happens is what?
Is Ravana's waiting there. She's holding not her temp pad. And Mobius is like, I guess we must have mixed that up. I just realized that I had yours instead of mine. And he like hands it over like shyly. And then Ravana gets like all like aggressive and like brightens her eraser on her pencil. And she'd asked Mobius earlier in the episode if you could go anywhere at any time, where would you go? And he's like, well, I can go anywhere at any time. But he like never answers truthfully. He just says like, I just like being here. And then at the end of this, he's like, I would go back to my life before you guys took me. He's like, I would like to go back because I think I had a jet ski. I would like to go ride my jet ski. That's where I would go.
Jet ski. And what does she do?
She has someone else prune him for her. And then she looks kind of like irritated. And then Loki looks broken.
Yeah, Loki, this is like the closest to crying maybe we've seen Loki, other than his mom dying. He like teared up. He's not happy.
But then Ravana takes both Sylvie and Loki to go see the Timekeepers.
Woo! This is like...
Yeah, and if you guys have seen The Last Jedi, when Rey and Kylo murk Snoke and then, have this big epic fight, this was done better.
Finally, Loki and Sylvie finally get to be in front of the Timekeepers, which is both of their goal throughout the series so far, is like get in front of the Timekeepers. Hers was to destroy. Loki was to manipulate and overthrow. But they're finally both in front of the Timekeepers now, and it goes weird. Really weird.
Well, B-15 shows up to be the hero.
Crying in the rain.
Yeah. And she throws Sylvie her sword so that they have a weapon. Yeah. They have this epic fight. They basically just wipe out the entire TVA squad that was watching over them. And then Sylvie just Hakuna Matatas her sword at the Timekeepers. There's no worries, dude, for the rest of their days. And cuts off one of the Timekeepers' heads. Only it wasn't a head.
It was a fucking robot.
They were androids.
They're androids. They were fake. Which we said last week. We said that we thought that they were bullshit and it was something that Kang was behind. It was all a whole bunch of hoopla.
Ooh.
Hold on, hold on. I know what you're saying. But Chad had an idea today when I brought this up to him. And
no, before that.
No, before the...
We didn't talk about this, but it was from that theory video that you sent me. The reason why they have to go through that metal detector based thing
robots,
to make sure that they're not robots.
Yeah, because robots could detect other robots. Because a robot
could detect that another robot. So it was
That's why they did that, yeah.
And I just thinking about it, I had to get that out there to make sure that there were no life model decoys that could figure out that the Timekeepers were fake.
So my theory has been and still is that Kang is behind all of this. When I told Chad today about the rune behind the timekeepers, and that's why magic doesn't work in the TVA, came up with this theory, and I fucking love it.
So, we know that that Loki is going to affect the future of the MCU. Like the show Loki is going to affect the future of the MCU, the greatest out of the show so far.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Specifically because the
hands
multiverse going into Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness. If you remember how Doctor Strange ended,
the first one. Oh,
the first one.
Obviously the first one. Duh.
His like friend and mentor, Mordo, one of them. It's Mordo. Say it how you want. At the end, he is given up on. Yeah, was
you
that?
Heard that? Did you hear that?
Yeah, the meow.
That was in the. No, it was a.
It was a child. Yeah.
Okay.
It sounded like a meow. But so at the end of Doctor Strange, Mordo basically decides to walk away from the Sanctum Sanctorum, from the mystic arts. He can no longer follow, the Sorcerer Supreme because he'd been lied to.
Yeah.
In the end credit scenes, it shows him taking other sorcerers' powers and magic from them. So if there are runes in the TVA, and the TVA exists outside of time, Mordo very well could be working for Kang and have been the one to have cast the runes because he's studied the mystic arts. He understands magic. So he could have been the one to cast the runes so that magic no longer works there.
Yeah.
Which would make sense leading up to Multiverse of Madness also, because they kind of hinted at the end of Doctor Strange that Mordo was going to be an adversary.
Yeah. He's going to be bad. He's going to be a bad guy.
Yeah, and it also follows, he's in the comics, he is an adversary to Doctor Strange.
Yeah.
So that's my theory, is that he is working alongside Kang, and that's all going to come together.
Very subtly introducing magic into. I mean, even though Loki uses magic, but like the runes and stuff is huge because that makes sense why they can't use magic in the TVA.
Because they weren't the ones that cast them.
They weren't the ones that casted it. Kang is not, or never has been in the comics or any adaptation of Kang, has been in the
magical being. Yeah.
Yeah. He's a conqueror.
Who knows how to transverse the space-time continuum.
So it makes sense that somebody who knows how to manipulate both magic and like time and shit like that, Mordo is
what do you know?
Working with Kang. So it's a pretty solid prediction. We're sticking to it. I would love to see Kang show up at the show, but much like fucking Marvel fucked us on Mephisto, they're gonna point every fucking finger they possibly can at Kang, and they're not gonna give us Kang. And that's what I think's happening with Loki, and we're gonna get Kang and Mephisto, who are both big time manipulators in the comics, as like the big bads for Phase 4.
And the only reason why I disagree that we won't see Kang in this is because
I said we won't see Kang.
I know, but the reason why I disagree with that and why I still think that
we are going to see Kang.
I think that it won't be a major role in the show, but maybe like towards the end of the last episode or like an end credit scene. But we'll actually get to see him because he's actually been confirmed.
Yeah.
Not in this show, but he has been confirmed. Yeah. Where Mephisto, we still don't even have a confirmed. What?
Just call him Mephisto. Mephisto.
He
just goes around fisting everybody in the MCU.
Hello, Elizabeth Olsen. Mephisto. I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. Hadouken. But we actually have, like, he hasn't been confirmed as a character with an actor tied to him.
Yeah.
But we do have a confirmed Kang the Conqueror. So I think that just like what we got with the Avengers in the end credit scene,
Yeah, I was gonna
with
say as an
Thanos.
end credit scene, that would be amazing.
Yeah.
We do get to holy shit. I crossed off so much shit here. I don't even know where it
Well,
was.
at the end of the
Uh,
fight,
oh
basically
yeah, Loki.
Loki is about to tell, wow, wow, is a oh, too soon? We're never gonna get to hear a wow because of that, or, but fuck.
Just say it.
At the end of the fight, basically Loki turns to Sylvie. It seems like he's gonna profess his love, and then he gets just pruned.
From Ravana's little bitch ass.
Pencil.
I literally the whole episode when fucking Sylvie is beating the shit out of Ravana, I'm like, kill her, fucking kill her. Like you have her right there. She like literally beats. She like throws some punches at her, and then like lets go of the fucking pruning stick, the pencil, whatever, and gets up and leave. And I'm like, dude, she's still alive. You didn't fucking kill her, and you left her with the weapon that's gonna fucking kill somebody. Like, no offense, I love the show, I really do, but you fucking deserve to die. What are you doing? What are you doing?
Oh, it's
like,
called setting up further plot development.
I
God.
understand that if they don't do that, if logic is introduced into movies, you wouldn't have a movie because it would be like, oh, bam,
that's
the killer
why
is dead.
there is that entire YouTube channel of how it should have ended.
Yeah.
It exists solely to replace plots with logic.
Oh my god, it was so frustrating.
But basically, Ravana stabs Loki in the back and prunes him.
Out and uses the weapon that fucking dumb fuck Sylvie left her with and erases, prunes fucking Loki. Loki dies. Blah blah blah.
End of episode.
Now I'm mad. Now I'm mad.
Now he's pad. Guys,
I'm pissed mad. It's pad.
You wouldn't like him when he's pad. No, but then the credits roll. But we do get our first end credit scene of the show. And it's literally Loki waking up on the ground. And he's like, am I dead? Is this hell? But in the captions, you say it because you're the one that watches with captions.
Yeah, so I watch. Yeah, anyways. So in the subtitles, it's spelled H-E-L, not hell like we would spell it or the Christians would spell it. The Christians.
Christian.
It's spelled H-E-L. So,
which is how the Norse mythology would refer to the realm of the dead.
Yeah.
Is H-E-L, which is just a cool little nod, again, because that's also where Hela was from, or banished to. It was just cool that even though he said, am I in hell, they, captions-wise, and because he is from Asgard, that's how he would refer to hell, is with just one L. It was a cool little nod. But then we hear a voice from off-screen saying, no.
Not yet.
Not yet. But if you stay here, you will be. And
if you don't come with us, you will be.
Yeah. And then it turns and we see several Lokis.
Yeah.
There is one in the traditional...
Lokis.
Well, unless you count the alligator.
Alligator is the kid.
Kid Loki's pet, I know.
Yeah.
But fuck you.
Yes, yeah, we see a few, and we also get to see the traditional Loki from the original comics, the yellow and green outfit
with the ridiculous horns and like the jester collar, and then we get to see like.
But in the background, what is there, Chad?
It is destroyed New York City with Avengers Tower, which is just wild. And so I saw online people are like, "Oh my God, he got banished to the timeline where he wins the Battle of New York," which just cannot be true because it's Avengers Tower, not Stark Tower, which means that the shape of the building is different. There's the X,
and there was a helipad on this.
Yeah, there was a landing for a
yeah.
Quinjet instead of just a helicopter or Tony, and also it had the upper offices, which are like the party room where basically the Avengers lived before they moved upstate.
Yeah.
So my theory is that he got banished to the timeline where Ultron wins.
Time will tell.
Time will tell, or maybe it's just some post Earth if Thanos won or whatever it is. But
I don't
it
know
is.
if it's a Thanos one, but
Well, I don't think that we'll see Thanos, but like
no, I just saying I don't know if it's a timeline where we'll see a Thanos had one. Maybe.
I mean, they exist.
No, I don't think so though, because in Endgame when Thanos fucking showed up, he decimated Stark Tower. There was nothing left of it.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. So it wouldn't be standing still like in the end credit scene here.
Well, when he showed up in Endgame, that's the Upstate compound. That's the Avengers compound, not the Avengers Tower.
You're right. Yeah.
But in that end credit scene from Infinity War, there's helicopters, planes crashing into buildings, all of that. So it could be, but more than likely, based on the unified destruction across New York City, it's probably because Ultron won in this timeline.
Hopefully we'll see.
Yeah. They might explain it. They might not. Who really cares?
Yeah. Might get another Mephisto fucko.
Yeah. There's just a couple of cicadas hanging out on the walls.
Yeah. It's a spicy fucking way to end the episode.
Yeah, so
that being said,
yeah.
Let's go into sponsor 2.
Yeah, let's do it. We spent way more time than we should have. Sorry guys, this episode is going to be longer than the past few weeks.
Yeah, so anyways, listen up. We're going to tell you about sponsor number 2, which is Crybaby Craig's Hot Sauce. It's a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce. Goes on practically anything, so listen up.
Hey, you nerds. Do you love spice? Supporting small businesses? What about enhancing the flavor of your favorite foods? If you said yes to any of those, our good friends over at Crybaby Craig's have the perfect solution for you. Crybaby Craig's is a pickled habanero and garlic hot sauce that goes perfectly with your favorite foods, adding the perfect amount of spice and enhancing the flavor of everything it touches. Started in Minneapolis by Craig back in 2012, Crybaby Craig's has become a Minneapolis and Minnesota staple in the sauce world. So head over to crybabycraigs.com and order yours today. Alright guys, welcome back. So for our next segment, we're going to start a new deep dive and throwback, going over all things Spider-Man, in the movie realm at least. We're not going to dive into the animated series or anything like that. But so to start this off, we're going to go back all the way to Sam Raimi's first Spider-Man. So imagine back in 2002, you just got your first Limp Bizkit CD, and it was cool.
Offspring.
Oh,
that was my
pretty fly for a white guy,
I got it wasn't their first CD, but my first Offspring CD was their second album. I don't remember the name of the album. Oh, fuck. But
2002. How old were you? Must have been, what, 15, 16? 15?
God. I have no idea. I was a kid.
Yeah. You did not have your driver's license. I was 12 in 2002. And you're like 3.5 years older than me.
Yeah.
Almost 4. Jesus.
I was still a teenager.
I was closer to not existing in 2002 than I am to my age now.
I got this movie, Spider-Man 1, as a Christmas present, and I watched it religiously.
My grandmother took me to go see it, because my grandma and I used to go see movies all the time. She would always take me to go see. We would plan it out, right? There was like 2 or 3 movies that we'd want to go see. We'd load up on snacks, stuff our pockets. We would go see a movie, and then we'd make sure that movie and the start of the next movie that we wanted to see lined up, and then we'd sneak from movie to movie, and we'd see like 2 or 3 movies in a day. I guarantee you we had nothing to do with the economic collapse that happened a few short years after that. But yeah, we definitely would movie hop, and
I've done that. Yeah,
some of my fondest memories of my childhood involving movies was sneaking into movies with my grandma.
that's pretty cool.
Yeah. Completely besides the fact, 2002 was, we had the first X-Men movie had come out, Blade had come out, so there's kind of an excitement behind superhero movies.
Yeah, this is. I feel like this was the big one that sparked it because this was like the first like superhero movie to like blow up and become like a series and like.
Well, the X-Men 1 came out in 2000, so I
yeah,
think.
but I mean, I feel like Spider-Man because there was in Spider-Man 2 there was. We're getting a little sidetracked here, and I'll stop after this. But in Spider-Man 2 there was a plan to have Hugh Jackman's Wolverine in Spider-Man 2, but because of Sony and Fox, Sony doesn't play well with others.
It took them a long time to learn.
Yeah,
I think they've learned now because they're like, okay.
because there was also
Mm-hmm.
in the First America movie, there was supposed to be a cameo from both Magneto and Wolverine. And
I did not know that.
Yeah.
I knew that in Iron Man 1, in the post-credit scene, when RDJ first talks to Nick
Ock,
Fury.
right? Yeah.
No, Nick Fury just talks to Robert Downey Jr.'s Tony Stark about how he just had to go and out himself as Iron Man and make Nick Fury's life harder because there's mutants and people that crawl on walls, and like he references it's a deleted scene.
Yeah.
You can find it online, but he talks about the mutants and Spider-Man and a few other superheroes just in a quick monologue.
There was also supposed to be in Spider-Man 2. It was I don't know if it was a cutscene or whatever, but they originally said that Dr. Octopus's arms were made by Tony Stark.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
We also get in the first Spider-Man film when they're trying to come up with. Oh no! It's in Spider-Man 2 also when they're talking about Doc Ock. Because he's a doctor, like he has a PhD and people know who he is. But they're throwing around names at the Daily Bugle, and they're like, "What about Doctor Strange?"
Oh yeah,
and
yeah,
J.
yeah.
Jonah Jameson, famously and perfectly portrayed by J.K. Simmons. We'll get into this more.
Yeah,
because that dude is just fucking baller. But when the name Doctor Strange is thrown out as an option, he's like, nope, that's already taken.
Yep.
And that's in the actual film.
Yeah.
Which is just awesome.
Yeah.
They were trying it a long time ago and they failed because Sony does not play well with others until recently. Basically, they stopped playing well with others for a long time, and then people stopped inviting them to the sleepovers. Yeah. They're like,
and they were like, holy
what's
shit.
going on?
They were like, okay, we'll let you use Spider-Man, and then Spider-Man made $2 billion movies, and they're like, well, maybe you guys can use our character for longer, as long as we can also use him. And Marvel was like, okay, fuckface, we'll play ball.
Yeah.
But anyways, getting back to Spider-Man 1. Spider-Man 1, Sam Raimi.
Tobey Maguire.
Tobey Maguire.
Kirsten Dunst.
Yeah.
James
Willem
Franco.
Franco! Yeah. We get some cool stuff here. This movie is very much an origin story. Because it's the first time that Spider-Man's been brought to the big screen.
Yeah, they did some things really well, but they also fucked up a lot of shit.
Yeah.
Like, what about like the finger pubes?
Finger pubes are weird.
Like
Finger
they
pubes
zoom
are
in
weird.
on it and you see like sticky pubes, but like it, and they look dense. They look. I'm not gonna say it.
Little
They
spider.
look
They're like
dense.
little spider legs, basically. But yeah,
But
that's weird.
then, like zooming out and just like look, you'd think that like if there were black hairs growing out of any dude's fingertips, they could see like within a square inch. That like from a distance, you'd be like, "Yo, why are your fingers discolored and look hairy?"
Yeah.
They're like, "No, it's invisible now. Don't worry about it."
uh,
And they blow over the fact that Peter Parker's a fucking genius.
yeah,
And
they
they just
didn't
made him
touch on that at
a
all.
dork.
The only thing that they did was with and there's a very memeable stuff about it with Norman Osborn, aka Willem Dafoe, is when they
I'm
go
a
to the
bit of a scientist myself.
when they go to the museum and he goes, "I hear you're a bit of a scientist," and he says something. "I read your dissertation on blah blah blah." He goes, I'm a bit of a scientist myself," and that was like literally it. It's like, oh, okay.
Terrible writing.
No.
No offense, Sam Raimi, because you have done some great things since, and I'm really excited for Doctor Strange 2.
Yeah.
But
Web shooters.
20 years ago, you should have done better.
Web shooters were a big problem for me in this movie. I don't want to shit.
What web shooters?
We're going to talk about some good stuff about this movie too, but the web shooters were basically no web shooters. It was Peter basically got some emo scars on his hand and on the wrist. And
Took me a second to catch that. Wow. Oh.
And that's where his fucking stuff came out of, which is another fucking
It's another
bullshit thing.
meme.
Well,
It's also another meme.
But it's also a bullshit thing against how smart he is, because the point of the web shooters is that Spider-Man Peter Parker creates the web shooters to, and they were like, oh, we're just going to make Sam Raimi. I was like, well, let's make him a dumb fucking idiot, and this will just be part of his transformation. He'll just like shoot fucking emo songs out of his fucking emo scar.
Cut my wrist and black my eyes.
Yeah. I just want to break you down so badly. Yeah. It was pretty fucking stupid. And Sam Raimi, go fuck yourself for that one.
Just for that one. I mean, well, we'll get into it later where he also wasn't necessarily his fault according to a lot of interviews, but he definitely progressively started to fuck this character more. Mm-hmm. We'll get into that in the coming weeks.
As we continue our deep dives. Some good things about the movie. I really liked Tobey Maguire as Peter Parker. I did enjoy him in that role quite a bit because...
In the first two films, yeah.
Particularly, I don't think that he is traditionally like somebody that you would see as a superhero, and that's how Peter Parker is supposed to be in the comics.
Peter Parker was
a dweeb,
and he was designed around. It was supposed to be like Stan Lee,
yeah,
if he could be a hero.
Yeah.
If you look at early drawings of Peter Parker for like the original comics, he looks like a 16 to 20-year-old Stan Lee, which is awesome. We do get to see Joe Manganiello.
Oh, yeah.
I have no idea how to pronounce his name.
It's called Dick Stroke.
Yeah, Dick Stroke, with a bunch of death at the end of it.
Yeah.
He plays Deathstroke in Justice League. He played Brad in How I Met Your Mother. It's fitting because he is a bro. But he's also just like, he is a giant nerd. Like, in real life, like, he enjoys don't want to say love, but he enjoys Dungeons and Dragons, likes comics. Like, he is... Besides not being able to pronounce his name, I would love to be friends with this dude.
Well, one of the cooler things about this movie for me was I didn't know this until like not that long ago, and I told you about it recently today. Um, when 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 Peter Parker is or Tobey Maguire is discovering his powers, there's a scene in the movie where Mary Jane slips and Peter catches her tray and literally catches like every fucking falling thing on the tray. He did that in
Yes.
real fucking life.
Yeah, it took
That
him
wasn't
156 tries of basically like
unfucking believable.
crew members dropping things off camera so that they would like land,
It's
upright.
so crazy.
But he literally did that. That's
Yeah.
I didn't believe you. I had to Google it after we talked about it literally a couple of hours ago.
If I was an actor, I'd be like, look, man, no. Fucking just make that happen. I'm not fucking.
Oh, so I see you take the Jennifer Lawrence stance on your job.
Yeah, yeah,
Weird.
yeah,
Hey, can you do this with a computer where I don't have to work as hard? Weird.
yeah. Ouch. Yes. Oh, that
I
hurt.
still love Jennifer Lawrence, but
Yeah.
in the X-Men films now.
We gotta talk about the genius that was Willem fucking Dafoe in this movie.
You
Love Willem Dafoe.
you want
He
to
was
hear
amazing.
an awesome joke about Willem Dafoe? Yeah, I caught myself because we had this conversation earlier. I've pronounced his name wrong since forever. But so Willem Dafoe sounds like a crow and a frog arguing. Willem Dafoe. Willem Dafoe.
That's good. like it.
I did get that from How I Met Your Mother, but it's still one of my favorite jokes.
But yeah, he's fucking amazing in this movie. He's
Would you
Green
say he's an
Goblin.
amazing Spider-Man? Oh, we're talking about Willem Dafoe. Yes. I miss my opportunity, and it fucking ruined everything. Yes, Willem Dafoe is incredible. He plays the role of Norman Osborn fantastically. Obviously, they had to make some character changes to just make him basically a psychopath. But what are you laughing about?
Nothing.
Okay.
Because when we were preparing the episode, we wrote something on the paper, and I totally forgot about it. And I looked down at it to see what the next topic was. Nope.
No, it wasn't the biowebs.
It was the Saggy.
Oh yeah, we'll get there. Yeah, we'll get there soon.
But so basically, Green Goblin's character is a military experiment that splits Norman Osborn's personality into two. One being a psychopath, one being Norman Osborn. They share the same body, but their intellect is intertwined. And I cannot think of anybody better to play this character than Willem Dafoe. He fucking owned it, dude. It was
Which
so
is
good.
rad also because he's rumored. It hasn't officially been confirmed, even though he kind of let it slip in an interview. But in Spider-Man 3,
The MCU version
yeah.
with Tom Holland.
No Way Home, yeah. The new one that's coming out this December, he's rumored to come back and reprise his role.
So this is what we were kind of talking about earlier, where all of this is going to be relevant in Doctor Strange, the Multiverse of Madness. It's going to open up the multiverse. We've also talked about this earlier on, being that we're going to see Tom Cruise as Tony Stark at some point.
Yeah.
We're going to see potentially some of the original X-Men characters, possibly. We're going to see Willem Dafoe come back as Green Goblin. We're going to see the bad guy from Spider-Man 2, which we'll talk about later on.
Alfred Molina.
Alfred Molina as Dr. Octopus is one of the main villains in the next upcoming Spider-Man movie with Tom Holland. So Multiverse of Madness and everything that's happening with the multiverse is going to open up all of these crazy... This is why we're talking Spider-Man, is because these Spider-Man movies, Sam Raimi's Spider-Man, and Sam Raimi, who is also directing Multiverse of Madness, Doctor Strange 2, we're going to see Tobey Maguire as Spider-Man reprising his role. We're also going to see Andrew Garfield as speculated.
Allegedly.
Allegedly. Andrew
He accepted
Garfield.
a pizza on set, so like.
But we're going to see Andrew Garfield as Spider-Man again from the Amazing Spider-Man. We're also going to get a villain from those movies. Jamie Foxx is confirmed to return as Electro in the new Spider-Man. So that's why we really want to talk about these Spider-Man movies, because this movie comes out in December. We really want to like fucking dude, I'm stoked. I have a boner right now.
Are you sure it's not thinking about Kirsten Dunst in that iconic rain scene?
No, because when I was
so for those of you that don't know, there's an iconic Spider-Man. The first time he kisses Mary Jane Watson, he's in his Spider-Man suit. He like in the movies, he drops down on his web. He's upside down. It's
veiny neck, veiny triumphant bastard.
You hit Beck in the foot with your dick. I did.
Yeah, keep going.
But they share a kiss. It became like a super iconic thing, super.
But
memorable.
As a kid, the most memorable part about this scene is Kirsten Dunst's titties
running through the rain, no bra, just in a tank top.
But as an
soaking wet.
As an adult, they're you look back on it like they saggy.
Yeah, they hang a little low.
Hang a little low.
Saggy teats.
Sorry, Mom.
Yeah, sorry, Mom.
But it's
but we do get the best. I kind of already mentioned it, but the best rendition of J. Jonah Jameson that we could have ever hoped for with the Daily Bugle of J.K. Simmons.
J.K. Simmons / Omni-Man / Commissioner Gordon / everything fucking comic books. We love you, dude.
Literally Chris Pratt's father in Tomorrow War that we talked about earlier in this episode. But back then, he had hair. But we even got to see him reprise his role in Far From Home, Spider-Man Far From Home, with Tom Holland as J. Jonah Jameson, as kind of like an updated version. Instead of being a newspaper editor, he runs basically the MCU version of Alex Jones's video podcast, because they're turning the frogs gay. If you don't follow pop culture or current events from like 3 years ago, that will not make sense to you. But he's coming back, and it's awesome because like he literally is the best person to play that live action role.
Yeah. I think that we're like one of the big things. Well, sorry, to get back onto the plot of the movie, I guess to say is that Spider-Man and Goblin basically wants Spider-Man to join him. Spider-Man defies him. They fight. It's fun. There is a part in the movie that I wanted to talk about that B and Chad talked about it a little bit earlier, is that there's a Thanksgiving scene where they all have Thanksgiving together, dinner together, and in the scene, Spider-Man is wearing, or Peter Parker is wearing green and purple, which is Goblin's colors, and Willem Dafoe is wearing blue and red, which is Spider-Man's colors, which was a weird nod, but kind of a cool thing that they did.
Yeah, it was super subtle. Like, I was today years old when I noticed this because of Jake. Yeah. But it was super cool. It was just a subtle thing that, looking back on it, like, yeah, of course it makes sense, because both of them are as their secret identities. So, like, subtly, of course, they're going to, like, distance themselves as far from, what's going on.
We didn't talk about this, but this was a big thing. When this movie came out was shortly after 9/11. And the original poster for Spider-Man was supposed to be Spider-Man literally on one of the Twin Towers, with Green Goblin caught in his web between the towers. And there was a scene in the movie where Spider-Man caught Goblin by having him chase him through the city, and that's how he caught him, was going through the Twin Towers, and Goblin hit the web and got caught. They cut the scene from the movie and destroyed, but didn't release the poster because of 9/11, understandably so. But
yeah, because this movie came out like in the early spring of 2002.
Yeah.
So less than 6 months afterwards. So like that scene very well was already filmed. You know, they'd already done a bunch of promotional art for it as it was going into post-production, which is just wild.
Yeah.
Also shows like how long movies took to make of this caliber back then compared to now, because literally No Way Home, the third Spider-Man, Tom Holland Spider-Man film, comes out in December, and they finished filming earlier this year.
Yeah. So one of the big things in this movie is like the end fight scene between Spider-Man and Green Goblin. Spider-Man or Green Goblin, Spider-Man kills Goblin.
Inadvertently.
Not inadvertently. Goblin basically tries to kill Spider-Man. Spider-Man's spidey senses go off. He jumps up in the air, and the glider that Goblin uses, which had knives on it to kill Spider-Man, ends up hitting him. He dies. Which goes pretty big into Spider-Man 2. We'll talk about that next week.
And 3.
And 3, yeah. For this trilogy, it's a big
But
big thing.
I don't want to like get into it, but
backtrack. Go do what you want.
Just the noise that Willem Dafoe makes when he gets stabbed is just the most unbelieving, like unrealistic. He's just like, ah! And then he like folds over it. I was like, what? It's terrible. There's a couple of those moments, and you kind of mentioned before we started filming this was that Sam Raimi likes to throw in some kind of cheesy quips.
Cheesy. If you don't know Sam Raimi's earlier work, Evil Dead 2, Evil Dead 3, Army of Darkness. If you don't think Army of Darkness is the cheesiest fucking movie you've ever seen in your entire life, I don't know what's wrong with you.
Because there's also like a part when, to breeze over that fact, back to Spider-Man, there's a part where Spider-Man and Goblin are fighting, and Goblin's mask is fixed. Like, his mouth doesn't move. It's literally just like an armored helmet with like a voice hole, basically. And he's talking, and then Spider-Man just like webs him over the mouth, and he goes, ugh! And it's like, that did nothing to like stop you from talking, because your mouth can still move.
There is a funny part though where like Goblin gets Spider-Man like on the roof of like a building.
He's like gassed and drugged.
But then he goes, but then like Goblin walks up to him, and Spider-Man's like sitting on the ground like that, and Goblin just smacks him in the back of the head and goes, bam.
Smacks him on the back of the head, and then like
leans on the window, and he's like, you should really just join me. It's like so suave. It's like, oh my god, dude.
I'm a bit of a scientist myself.
That part was funny. I did enjoy that.
Yeah. There was a few moments.
I really don't want to shit on this movie, because when I was a kid and as an adult, and my girlfriend has not seen any of these movies, and I'm gonna make her watch them.
This week.
Not her. We've agreed to watch these, but I loved these movies growing up, and I know that we have a lot of fun at the expense of these movies when we talk about them, but we love these movies. That's why we talk about them.
This Spider-Man film and the original X-Men film,
minus Dark Phoenix.
Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, who loves a dumpster on fire?
Yeah.
Someone that's really cold and near a dumpster. That's about it. But like the original X-Men movie and this movie really shaped my love for both like
And
nerd. I mean,
yeah,
like I was already a Star Wars fan and things like that, but like it shaped my comic book love, and it really helped define my love of film also.
I had comic books in shoeboxes in plastic under my bed. I was a nerd way before this, but these movies did catapult the film for these nerdy movies like into
Yeah.
the future. I mean, here we are, fucking 2021. What you said? X-Men was what?
2000.
2000?
Yeah.
2000? Spider-Man was 2002. I'm fucking almost 34 years old, and these movies are still coming out, and I just get just as giddy as I did when I was
Yeah.
13 watching these movies
Yeah.
come out.
They're
And,
fantastic.
yeah. And that's why we do what we're doing.
Absolutely. So with that being said, guys, we are going to go ahead and close out this episode.
With that being said, I do want to mention that Black Widow is coming out this weekend. I really, really, really want you guys to go see this movie in theaters. If you can't, don't. That's fine. Or if you're
Yeah.
worried about it with COVID, I get it. But I did go see my first movie yesterday, 4th of July, with my girlfriend. We went and saw A Quiet Place 2, and I'm telling you, the movie theater experience is not something you can get on your couch watching your TV. I love the simplicity of ordering a movie on your couch and watching it. It's great. But the experience of watching a movie in a movie theater is so much better.
And it's completely because of the sound design. Because even if you spend the money and have like a home surround sound system, it's not to the degree that a theater is set up in. So for those of you that don't know, I went to school for sound design and for audio engineering. But in the theaters, there's ambient noises and sounds that come from behind you in a theater. Your brain can't tell that it's coming from behind you because it just hears it from the side. But instinctually, you notice that it's coming from behind you, and it creates so much more suspense. It creates so much more depth that you just cannot recreate at home. Especially nowadays, where majority of people, myself and Jake included, we just have a sound bar.
Yeah.
It gives you that dynamic range, but it's all coming from in front of you. So without
it's amazing.
Yeah, it creates such a more in-depth experience. So if you're able to, please go to the theaters.
Go to the theater. I went and saw. Have you ever seen the movie Drag Me to Hell?
No.
It's a horror movie.
That's why.
But made by Sam Raimi. And there's a part in the movie I remember specifically when I was watching, because I went and saw it with Yuza. He and I went and saw it, and there's a part in the movie where there's a ghost traveling, they're doing a seance basically, and this ghost travels around the room, you see it from the main person's point of view, and literally the speakers in the movie theater, the ghost travels from speaker to speaker around the movie theater, and it was literally holy shit, that was the fucking weirdest thing. And that's go see if you can and you're vaccinated and you're ready, go see this movie in theaters. The movie theater experience is so much better. Bring some booze in your purse,
or go to a theater that just sells it.
Yeah,
that too.
We brought a bottle of booze and put it in our slushies last night. It was amazing.
Oh, that sounds.
Had some popcorn.
Amazing.
Movie theater. There's nothing like movie theater popcorn.
Yeah, you can buy movie theater popcorn at the store, and it's not the same. It's not as good.
Nope.
So. We'll get into this over the next couple of weeks. We have a couple of guests lined up that, talk about the importance of the physical media, but also the physical experience of seeing these things is something that we both believe in. So,
Yeah.
Just like going to a concert is always so much better than just listening to a CD, because it's an experience.
The best fucking analogy. Yeah, that's great.
So if you can, guys, please go to the theaters. If you can't, we get it. Or if you don't like that, we get it. But like, check out this film, because we will be talking about it next week. And also, guys,
that's a bet.
Yeah, it's a bet. Yeah, bet. Fuck. But also, guys, we do have our web store up. We just got in some awesome fucking keychains that we'll be adding to the web store. They'll probably be up by the time you get around to listening to this. Also, we have our Patreon. We from our live stream last week, 2 weeks ago. We've gained a couple more Patreons. It's a great way to get some behind the scenes footage.
Thank you, guys.
Yes, thank you for all of you that have tuned in, for those of you that have subscribed to the Patreon.
Yeah.
It's a great way to get some exclusive merch, just to get some extra merch as well as some behind the scenes stuff. With that being said, guys, we love you. We can't wait to bring you some nerd shit next week.
Yeah.
And thank you for sticking around. Also, next week we'll be announcing our upcoming live stream, as well as we're going to do something special for our 25th episode.
Yeah.
But we'll tell you more about that next week, so we can't wait to tell you about it. And we love you.
We love you.
This has been the All Things Nerd podcast.